Devi.
Madhava Pranam Devi.
How's everyone? Dandavas Maharaj.
Madhava Pranam Maharaj.
You look well,
Nida.
Maharaj.
Madhava Pranam Kesha Prabhu. Madhava Pranam.
Dandavat.
Dandava Pranam.
Reading little to the to deities to about little reading about the Lalita Devi, Sri Lalita Devi, and little
Lalita Saptami, huh?
yeah, Lalita Saptami, yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, you, how are you?
How am I? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm okay, I guess.
Ah,
Still
good.
able to attend Sangha. So what more can I ask? Huh?
Okay. Krishna. Jai Gurudev.
Dandavad Maharaj.
Dandavat Maharaj.
विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रजोत विश्व भक्ति माधव पुरी महाराज की जय।
Jai.
Ah.
You all know about Lalita Devi, the servant of Srimati Radharani. There are two Shakis, Lalita and Vishaka, main Shakis, Lalita and Vishaka. Lalita somewhat favors Radharani. Sometimes she also favors Krishna. But Vishaka always favors Krishna. And they are the leaders. They are the leaders of the gopis, the managers, the spiritual master, actually Lalita. Everyone works under her. Lalita Devi. She comes in Chaitanya Lila as Srup Damodar. Srup Damodar Prabhu. That is Lalita Devi's pastime and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Lila. So Srup Damodar was like the secretary. He taking care of all the secretarial affairs of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lalita Devi does the same thing. In Goloka, she is managing everything. Even Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, she also serves Lalita Devi in her service to Srimati Radharani. And Rupa Manjari, she is the leader of all the Manjaris, the little young maid servants. And so like that, there's a parampara also there. Radharani, Lalita, then Rupa Manjari. of the spiritual master in the highest conception is seen as Srimati Radharani. And sometime before that, Lalita. There's a gradation of seeing Guru in different levels. As Rupa, as Lalita, as Radharani, depending on how high we can see. Anyhow, today is that special day, auspicious day of Lalita Devi's appearance. And tomorrow, she's actually one year older than Radharani. And she was born the day before Radharani, though, in the calendar. Saptami. And Radharani born on the Ashtami. Just like Krishna, he was also born on the Ashtami, 8th day of the moon, Janmashtami. And he was 1 week before Radharani, 2 weeks before Radharani. And now these are the top devotees in our line, huh? Topmost. Shanta can tell us about these things.
Maharaj, I was just reading from Govinda Maharaj in a writing
Yes.
today. And I have read there that Srila Govinda Maharaj is saying about the different Sakhis. They have their own groups, their own camp. So, but our service is going through the line of Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari is saying. So, even though Lalita Devi is the leader of all the Sakhis and all the service arrangement are done by her, but Rupa Goswami's mood is that he does, Rupa Manjari does everything by the direction of Lalita Devi, Radharani, not separately. So he was very much chaste to Lalita Devi. So Mahaprabhu has given the direction to all his followers as Rupanuga, but he not made any follower of the directly to the higher devotees, even though they are higher devotees, but somehow he is given the service under the purest what you can say, that mood of innocence.
Das of Das under Das. We don't serve the highest, we serve the servants of the higher.
He was discussing there, Maharaj, about the behavior of the devotees of Radharani, about how they are chaste to Radharani, and they don't want to even see the people who are having the other mood or other ideas, the opposition camp. Even they don't want to see that. they feel very much disturbed to even see that. And he was giving an example how Raghunath Das Goswami behaved about some thing that he has received, some buttermilk in a, what you can say, leaf from the place of the opposing camp. Then he not accepted that, he thrown that away. So Govind Maharaj was saying that that is some kind of chaste behavior, some high kind of the mood. But he told that may Lalita Devi not take my offense. But today is Lalita Saptami. That's why what Vaishnavas have told. Just we try to remember that. That's what Govind is.
They have a very particular mood. It's an affair of the heart. So when the heart develops a certain mood, it does not like to be disturbed by other conceptions.
Also, Maharaj, this Lalita Devi's thing that he has described as she cannot tolerate any little disturbance in the service of Radha Krishna. And I was thinking at that time how Swarup Damodar used to behave when Mahaprabhu somebody comes to meet, then he will not allow if they have some other ideas to meet even with Mahaprabhu.
Right. He could understand Mahaprabhu's mood very well, very intimately. And anything that he knew would disturb that, he did not allow. That's what Lalita does also. And it's a very high conception based upon feeling. Actually, we can't understand that with our logic or reasoning. That plane is based upon feeling.
Something amazing, Maharaj, in the life of Srila Siddhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj, that when his Guru Maharaj asked Srila Siddhar Maharaj, which place in Vrindavan you like, then he told about, I think, the Terikodam, I think, on the ground, the Terikodam. And then Rupa Goswami's place.
Oh.
Terikodam, where Radharani brought some milk in the leaf for preparation of the kheer. But when Srila Siddhar Maharaj asked Srila Govinda Maharaj which place you like, then he told about Uchagaon, Lalita Devi's place.
Yes.
And Srila Siddhar Maharaj told, yes, that is your place. Like that.
Siddhamar told that is the place he also likes.
Maharaj, I read teaching the Srila Bhakti Rasasiddhar de Goswami Maharaj. He is speaking about 3 force or potencia or energy, Haladini, Sanbid, other no remember 3 Uh-huh. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Prabhu. He says Haladini Shakti or Haladini energy is relationed with the feeling. One energy is thinking, other energy is desire, the other energy is feeling. Then Srila Guru Maharaj speaking, the Haladini energy or Haladini Shakti is the top energy because it's feeling. Feeling is most high top que thinking or desire. Feeling is more important, very important. In Srimati Radharani is represent this feeling. And the question for Maharaj is why the feeling is the more important, the three energy.
Yes. There's Satchidananda, huh? Sat is willing, huh? Sat is willing. Sandini. Chit is samvit, thinking. And Haladini is feeling. Ananda, yes. So bliss or Ananda, that will be higher than knowledge or understanding. If you become overwhelmed with feeling, then all your knowledge will be second. When you become influenced by feeling, all your knowledge will be put aside. Just like the example given of the king. King knows that he is the king and he has to carry out the royal tradition. But sometimes the king becomes attracted to a common girl. And that feeling of attraction, that feeling of love overpowers the knowledge of his tradition and his proper duty as a king. And so he will leave all of his kingdom and all those things that he knows are necessary for the royalty and take up the life with the commoner. So like that feeling is overwhelming, huh? Feeling can be overwhelming. And take precedent on there. Take precedent over all our knowledge. Love. They say love conquers all, huh? Yes. So even though we know something, if the love comes or some feeling comes, it will subdue even our knowledge. So strong. That's also there in the spiritual world as well as here in the material world. The need for satisfaction, fulfillment. Ananda means fulfillment. Fulfillment. Why do we aspire for knowledge? That is also a desire for fulfillment. When we get some knowledge, we become satisfied. We become fulfilled. So even there's some desire. So desire for satisfaction, for fulfillment, the search for knowledge. But when our heart is filled with love, then our soul, everything becomes happy, satisfied. We may have all knowledge, but if we don't have love, we cannot be happy. Some people want knowledge so that they will be loved, honored. They're also looking for knowledge, but they're also looking for recognition, for some type of love from others. That's necessary. Sri Maharaj used to say, you can live with so many other things. You don't have to have so many other things to live. But if you don't have love, then you cannot live. Without love, we cannot live. What do you say, Maharaj?
Maharaj, I was remembering something in the Prema Vivarta. It is told that this Hladini Sakti, it is a manifestation of the love of Radha and Krishna. So some people may think, oh, this Hladini Sakti might have forced the one absolute to divide into two, that is Radha and Krishna. But that is not based on some kind of time, the mundane way that we think. Whatever we think from the linear time-based concept in mundane way, that is not applicable on absolute or divine plane. So they are existing simultaneously, like absolute at the same time, one and also two, Radha and Krishna. Both way it is. Sometimes it is for the necessity, it manifests as one, as Gaura in one pastime, and then in other place it also manifests as two. So it is the Hladini Sakti which is making all this transformation or manifestation in absolute.
Yes, Hladini is always eternally present.
Yes.
Not in Krishna and Radha.
That means when it says that it is the manifestation of love of Radha Krishna, that automatically means that there is Radha Krishna. Not that it is manifesting without Radha and Krishna. It is first manifested.
Saraswati Thakur said it is the predominating and predominated.
Yes.
Moiety. Moiety means half. So there is always in the absolute predominating and the predominated.
So what we will see in Mahaprabhu Maharaj, predominating or predominated?
Predominated. He comes as a devotee.
But also he comes as an enjoyer in that. that he wants to release the mood of Radharani. That is the his main intention.
But the taste of Radharani is the taste of service,
Yes.
complete dedication and service. So that's why he wants to come, not as the enjoyer, but as the person who is tasting this service of Krishna. That's mood of service and separation. He wants to know what that is. As the predominator, as Krishna, he cannot taste that. So he has to come in the form of the predominated in order to taste what is Radharani.
So Krishna is the predominator
Yes.
in the case of Mahaprabhu.
Jagannath, no?
Mahaprabhu is not Krishna. Is in the mood of Radharani. Krishna in the mood of Radharani.
Lord Jagannath is taking that position for Mahaprabhu's pastimes,
Taking what position?
predominating.
Yes.
But Maharaj, actually Jagannath's pastime is not like predominating the way the Krishna is doing. I mean, he does those pastimes, but he is in also very intense mood of some necessity that he is missing Radharani so much. Means absolute, you don't have any like such that type of lack. But in the case of Jagannath, he's feeling so much like helpless or so much sad. I'm thinking about the condition of gopis and Radharani in Vrindavan.
So that is not mundane, that is also absolute.
Yes. So can it be also seen as predominating?
Huh?
Can it be also seen as predominating?
Yes, Krishna is always that. And that predominating energy, the source. So he is the source of the energy. And then the energy. He is not the energy, he is the source of energy. And Radharani is the energy, Shakti.
So when union and separation, there is what is the change in this mood of predominating and predominated?
The change in the mood?
Is there any change in the union and separation?
We're talking about ontology. In the ontological conception, there one is the source, the other is the energy, ontologically speaking. In a personal way, all these things are secondary. There's a personal feelings. So Krishna and Radha, they exchange feelings, they even exchange identities. Sometimes.
In Vrindavan, we see that Radharani is holding the murli in the black form.
So in the personal forms, these are personal relations. It's very hard to pinpoint what is what, because that's all based on feeling, not ontology. What kind of feelings they have. Point is that we think that God, in terms of God and things like that, we don't think in terms of their personal feelings. But when we get across the Narayan conception, then we can recognize that there are personal feelings. Just like, when you have the president of the country, he has his role and he has his Leela, his pastimes as a president. But he also has a personal life. And that's quite different from his presidential duties and so forth. So you really can't compare. If you try to make a comparison between those two, it's very difficult to find how to harmonize.
Maharaj, in one sense, when we see from the point of view, the Jagannath pastime for the ordinary people, like he's giving liberation, he's giving, different desires of the people, he's satisfying. All these things he's also doing, as Krishna does. But in another sense, in the Gaudiya, sense, then he seems to be more, controlled at that thing than, is being, controller.
Yes. Again, I think we have to make a distinction between the Paramatma and Bhagavan levels of realization of Krishna. The ontological difference and the difference between a personal and a role, between the person and the role that they play. That's how I understand it. God is the role, is the position that Krishna occupies. And in that position, that becomes Paramatma. Paramatma is not Krishna, Bhagavan, who is creating the universe. Paramatma in his form of Mahavishnu, the Chakravyuha, and then in the Vishnu forms. That's where the material energy comes from. The creation comes from that. Krishna has his own pastimes. He's not involved in that. Prabhupada often mentioned Krishna is not doing that. He's playing his flute, while Mahavishnu is engaged in dreaming and producing universes and Brahmas and so forth. So there are different functions for Paramatma and Bhagavan. So we should not mix them.
But Maharaj, shall we see Paramatma aspect as same as Mahavishnu and Chaturvyuha, all these things?
Well, we know that, you have to look again at the development. You given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, how all these things come about. There's the Vaikuntha world also. There are certain forms of Narayan, they're not engaged in creation either, but they're still respected as great, as God. They still have a very high position, and their servitors also respect them like that, like kings. So those are the Vaikuntha planets. That is also the existing. And then there's another realm of existence called the material world. and in the material world, we also have a conception of God and how he is creating things. But in Vaikuntha, it's a slightly different life. It's like the Christian, it's more like the Christian heaven. Christians have a belief in God, but they also know when they die, they go to heaven or to be with God. That is like the Vaikuntha for us. But then beyond that God conception, there is the personal conception of Krishna, playing with the gopis and the cowherd boys. So we have to distinguish between these levels of realization.
Maharaj, this Paramatma realization, it is limited to yogis because it is only I think a partial function of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, because Paramatma don't have associates. He is alone. But Kshirodakshaya Vishnu has associates. Like say, he is being served by Ananta Dev expansion, and also with Lakshmi Devi, and he has also his servitors. So can we say that that Bhagavan aspect and the Paramatma aspect, like of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, some difference is there?
That I would imagine is true, but I think even in Vaikuntha, Narayan has Lakshmi. Lakshmi Narayan is there. He has his associates, his ambassadors, so many things. And not alone.
Isn't Paramatma with the Jiva, like two birds sitting on the same branch, they say?
That's that Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
But Paramatma is Santaras. It can, we can
Well,
go up to
it can be Dasa Ras. Dasa,
Paramatma.
Dasa, yes. Relation of the Jiva to Paramatma can be Dasa. In Vaikuntha, there is Dasa.
No, that is Bhagavan Maharaj, because there is Shakti is there.
You know, there's worship of God as the master, a
Yes,
superior,
master.
a
But
superior
Maharaj, I'm telling about Paramatma and Bhagavan.
Paramatma.
Yes,
Well,
because Paramatma don't have any pastime
I
or
mean,
kind of.
I see. You say Paramatma means the expansion of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Yeah, only one aspect that he is only there in maintaining to the jivas, but he's not engaged in that aspect of Paramatma with pastime. Like you have told once that Paramatma is not there in the spiritual world.
Right.
Sachidar Maharaj told.
So that, yes, that Paramatma is alone, like Vasudeva.
Yes.
Uh,
So that there, if he is not having associates, then it is very difficult to have any service relation there.
Yeah, I think the yogis don't want to serve, they just want to focus their attention on Paramatma.
Only seeing Maharaj.
Seeing and not doing anything, huh?
But Maharaj, that Paramatma aspect is there predominating in Kshirodakshaya Vishnu in his abode, because that is the main function. I mean, all these Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. But Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is explicitly maintaining in aspect, because Brahma is the creation and Shiva is destruction.
Okay.
So then we can say that the Paramatma, that aspect of maintenance, that is the main service move, or any other pastime is going on there.
In that case, maintenance is material maintenance, though.
Oh,
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is maintenance energy. So Kshirodakshaya Vishnu means the maintaining energy of material energy. It's not maintaining a service energy as far as creation, destruction, and maintenance. Those are all material energy.
But still his Sattva-guna is not considered as this material Sattva-guna. Even though he's in Sattva-guna, he explained that that Sattva-guna is not part of this material Sattva-guna.
generally they say Vishnu, huh? Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva.
Yes.
The Vishnu is the maintainer.
Maharaja is saying here that when they say that, they're talking about Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Maybe. Possible.
Yeah, that is what he explained, that the Paramatma is the expansion of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
Mahavishnu gives birth from the lotus, and then he goes into the universes as Karna, right? Who's
But
first?
Maharaj, these three Vishnus are still sleeping, no? Even Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is in, I think, some sleep. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu also.
They are laying down. I don't know if they're sleeping.
I mean, they are dreaming, no? This world is going on in the Maha.
He was lying down on the bottom of the universe, huh?
Yes.
And Kshirodakshai Vishnu is sitting in the Kshira, what was that?
Milk ocean, milk ocean.
Kshirodaksha ocean. And Mahavishnu is sleeping in the causal ocean. So they're all laying down on the job.
But all these demigods, Maharaj, they go to Kshirodakshai Vishnu. They have access to Kshirodakshai Vishnu.
Right.
And they pray to him and they give all their petition there. And then Lord says that I will come as Krishna, I will come as Ram. Means it is the Kshirodakshai Vishnu who gives that message. So there is some, oneness is also there, and there seems to be some difference. Means Lord is telling that. So how we see that aspect of Lord there? Means we say that Krishna is absolute, nothing can be compared with Krishna, all other even expansion. But at certain places we see that that function is also there. Krishna's function.
By studying the descriptions given in the scripture, we can see how they are one and different, all coming from different expansions from one another. The Chaturvyuha, and coming originally from Baladev, Sudarshan, like that. We can look at the expansions and see how they are all related and all different. Depending on what they're holding in their hand. As a mysterious.
How four symbols can have infinite combinations.
Whatever I don't know all the details. Some things are inconceivable. And how they got all this detailed information, we don't know. It's all transcendental knowledge. But it's not something we can sit down and figure out. Calculate. I don't think so. Well, some things we just have to give to the level of inconceivable.
And also it is told, Maharaj, this Lakshmis and Durga Devi, Parvati and Chandravali, and all these, personalities that Lord's, the Shaktis, they're all expansions of Radharani.
Right.
Srila Saraswati Thakur used to, when Durga Puja coming, they are saying we are Sakta, then he used to say we are also Sakta. Then he used to say we are Suddha Sakta.
Organic, an organic whole, you see. So everything is connected, and yet system, there's a difference also. There's difference and there's connection. And there's unity and diversity. That's what makes it a system or organic.
So Maharaj, that organic, that other day you were saying that we don't see exactly in that way, no? I mean, that means organic concept gives more teleological relationship between parts. But you were saying, we see, there is higher way of seeing also.
Yes, well, you can't see personality in system. So beyond the system, there's the self, or the personality. And that we don't get from system. An organism, we can describe it in so many different ways. But what is the person there? How we do the organic description doesn't explain the person.
Means especially the participants, the personalities, like almost like muted, seems to me. in that.
Oh,
They are there as a function, you can see, but they are not so dynamically, I mean, so explicit way it is manifesting the personality. So this is only analogically to understand, Maharaj, we can say.
I think we have to remember that there are two things. This is how I understand. There are the things we think about, and the thinking, the thinker, the thinking process, and the things that we think about. Now, if you try to explain everything in terms of what we think about, or that which is thought about, then we're missing half the story. Only if we include the thinking, and the objects of thought, then we can get a complete picture. So science only talks about electrons and molecules and biology, all these things, biomolecules. These are things we think about. But the thoughts themselves, the thinking, doesn't get included in that. So you need a different basis. That's why it's necessary to have a soul, concepts of soul. Soul has to be there because where are the thinking, feeling, willing going to come from? They're not going to come from the electron. Electrons don't have thinking, feeling, willing. So scientists have to include a soul if they want to talk about thinking, feeling, and willing. Otherwise, they have no basis in the electronic world or atomic world to include such things. So they must include us of the soul. Soul is the basis of thinking, feeling, willing. And then the things that are thought about, that is the molecule, atom. Both have to work together to get a complete picture. Science, the science is to be complete. They must have both sides. Atma and atom. How these two work together.
Maharaj, in Vedic sense, we also say that there is Atma even in Paramanu.
Huh?
Even in Paramanu, in atom, there is Atma.
Yes. So we have it in Vedic literature also. But they have both, huh? Paramanu and Paramatma.
So Atma in the Paramanu, this is what you were talking about Hegel calling petrified intelligence, right? Where there's dunamis, where it's the potentiality, it's
Well,
there.
that's another thing. That's a way to harmonize the two. But you have to have both. That's the point.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
in the spiritual world, devotees may have many forms, like it is being explained that Lalita Devi, her service mood is like, if she sees any sweat in the body of Radha and Krishna, then she immediately taking thousands of bodies to remove that, any kind of small little discomfort. So like we know that Naradusi also, he can assume, I think 6 or I don't remember how many forms, but all those forms are considered the Naradusi, same Naradusi only. But what he was surprised with to see the pastime of Krishna, that Krishna has many forms in Dwarka, but they are all different Krishna. So what happens in the spiritual world, all these different forms, they are the same devotee, or they have, the different personalities.
I haven't been there, so I can't tell you.
Narada has the siddhi. It's a material perfection. It's not an expansion. The Lord is expanding. It's a whole different thing.
Maharadrusi is also staying in Vaikuntha, no, Maharaj, with Vishnu?
He didn't go anywhere.
Yes.
But is his ability to expand into different versions of himself sounds like the siddhi. There is some limit to it. You can only do 7 bodies, and it's all
Yes, limited.
yeah.
Maharaj, please, other question. The Sri Lalita Devi represent the most higher why the Radha Dashan Sri Lalita Devi represent the Radha Dashan way. Yes or no?
Is Lalita Devi engaged in Radha Dasya?
Lalita Devi represent the Radha Dasha way. All devotee following in her and mind, the try following the way the Radha Dasyan and Lalita Devi represent the Radha Dasyan.
Yes.
She represents the Radha Dasyan way. Lalita Devi.
Yes. What do you say, Shanta Maharaj?
I don't know, Maharaj, but what I heard, that Rupa Goswami represent that Radha Dasyam, but Lalita Devi's service is more, like a guardian kind of thing. Because she's taking the position of chastisement to Krishna and Radharani. Because when they are, like Govind Maharaj was saying, then there are fights between Radha and Krishna, then the Lalita Devi is harmonizing that fights. So I think Rupa Goswami don't get involved in that type of service, I think. So I'm not sure, Maharaj. I cannot answer because it seems to be very high kind of question or understanding of that. I think Radha Dasyam must be there in that also, but the kind of Radha Dasyam that Gaudiyas are practicing may not be in that line directly. Means as a servant of that line.
Comprende?
Yes, Maharaj. Lalita Devi is the guardian, and Rupa Goswami is the represent the Radha Dasyan. Yes or no?
Yes, we can say like that. I think that is correct. Because Rupa Goswami Rupa Manjari does not ever chastise Radharani or Krishna. She only wants to serve. But Lalita also has that mood that if she wants to give her life 100,000 times to remove one sweat, one little piece of sweat from Radha and Krishna's feet. So that kind of intense service to Radha and Krishna, that is also Radha Dasya. She has that within her. But she also does something that we don't do, that she sometimes chastises Radharani and Krishna, or she makes arrangement for them. And these are subtle points. We don't have to worry about that. We just try to serve Gurudev with all of our heart and see it. And Krishna will reveal higher things to us.
Ajita Nanda Prabhu probably has not understood any years.
You want to explain en español to Aditi Nanda?
Yes, Maharaj. It's complicated. I will try. Oh, Krishna. Help me, please. Help me, please. Dandavas Pranam Prabhu. Dandavas, los Maharaj estaban conversando acerca de muchos tópicos importantes relacionados con hoy un día especial de Sri Lalita Devi Saptami, o sea, el advenimiento de una gran servidora que muy amiga íntima de Srimati Radharani. Entonces los Maharaj estaban explicando que la importancia de Sri Lalita Devi, porque era una de las chaste, los chaste son las chaste son gopi muy íntimas de Radha y Krishna. Ellas sirven, ellas son las más íntimas de sirvientas de Radha Krishna. Y entonces Lalita Devi es una de esas de las más altas, las más importantes sirvientes de ella. Entonces, ella también tiene mucha importancia porque nuestra línea, si Chaitanya Saraswat, nuestros guardianes, nuestros gurus siguen la línea de Rupa Nuga. Entonces, Rupa Nuga significa que Rupa Nugas busca servir a las manjari, a las taxis que sirven a Radha y Krishna y Lalita. Entonces, nosotros somos Rupa Nugas, seguidores de esa línea que busca el más alto camino del servicio devocional, que es Radha Dasyan. Radha Dasyan significa el más puro camino del servicio. No hay otro. El más importante es Radha Dasyan. Radha Dasyan significa intentar servir a Srimati Radharani. Entonces, Maharaja explicaba que Sri Lalita Devi era como el guardián de ese camino, más o menos, y que Rupa Goswami era como decir el que enseña, el que muestra ese camino que lleva al servicio más alto, que es el Radha Dasyan. Pero como siempre, no podemos servir directamente a ellos. No podemos servir directamente ni a Lalita, ni Radha, ni Krishna, no, ni siquiera a Rupa Goswami. Nosotros tenemos que buscar servir al representante. a la gente de Rupa Goswami, que es Guru, un Maharaj. Los Maharaj representan a Rupa Goswami, a Nityananda Prabhu. Entonces nosotros, si Guru sonríe, happy, feliz, si Gurudev está feliz, entonces Rupa Goswami feliz, Sri Lalita feliz, Radha Krishna feliz. Pero primero Gurudev, servir a Gurudev es el primer paso en el camino a la felicidad y a la conciencia de Krishna. Los Maharaj también hablaron de otros tópicos sobre acerca de que hablaron acerca de que la energía, hablaron sobre distintas expansiones de energías a la Hirokachai Vishnu, Mahavishnu, el océano de leche. Hablaron de esos temas que son un poco complicados de traducir, pero más o menos el Maharaj hablaba de que no se pueden decir medias verdades. Por ejemplo, habló de muchos pensadores, pensadores hablan acerca de los átomos, moléculas, los organismos, el todo orgánico, y pero ellos pueden hablar y especular, ¿no? Pero sería una mitad, la mitad de la verdad. Pero el más alto ideal es que los pensadores hablen, y piensen, sí, pero también sería perfecto basados es que también esté acompañado de las escrituras o de las shastras, que también son muy, muy importantes. Entonces, por ejemplo, Gurudev, Maharaj piensa, pero también es Maharaj, Shastra, por ejemplo, Guru, Shastra y Vaishnavas son tres aspectos muy importantes que siempre están unidos. Pero Shastra es importante, Vaishnava es importante, pero Guru es más importante, porque aquí yo tengo Shastra. Entonces yo tengo Shastra, aquí digo, Shastra, what is Krishna? Shastra no habla a mí. Shastra es importante, pero Guru es más importante porque hay una relación directa con el Guru, de sentimiento con Gurudev. Gurudev, please, tell me, dime estas dudas. Gurudev te da amor. Gurudev da amor a ti y tú a Gurudev. Shastra no. Shastra es importante, pero Shastra tú no puedes abrazar Shastra. Entre Gurudev sí. Más o menos eso yo que entendí de lo que hablaron los Maharaj acerca de Lalita, de las escrituras, de las shastras y otros temas, tópicos muy difíciles. Yo no sé de Hirokachai Vishnu, filosófico muy alto, yo no sé nada. Me disculpan, no conozco mucho de esos temas, pero lo más importante que habló Gurudeva es servir, dasa, nudasa. Eso es más importante. Toda la conversación, lo más importante es que nosotros tenemos que ser servicio al Vaishnava, al Guru, con humildad, tolerancia y su con dedicación, rendición, con rendición, ¿no? Eso es todo. Y disculpan que mi traducción no sea tan buena. Gracias. Ya, y Gurudev.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, Maharaj.
If you like, I'm going to leave now.
I have to also take rest, Maharaj, because tomorrow we have Radhashtami, and by your blessings we are distributing prasadam to around 7,000 to 8,000 people. There is a big like football tournament in our area, so big crowd of people are coming. So all our various places are gathering. So we have made a stall there to distribute Radharani's prasadam there. So after some program, we'll go and distribute there. But Maharaj, I want to just add that, small point. Even though Rupa Goswami represent that, service to Radharani in the Radhadarsham, but he does everything under the guidance of only Lalita Devi. He does not do anything independently, relation with Radharani.
Jai Vaishnavas, Srila Bhakti, Niskam Shanta Maharaja ki jai.
Jai.
Samarena Bhakti ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Go Premanandi.
Hari
Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Lalita Saptami ki jai.
Jai.
Jai.